morning, everyone. Namaste. I'm going to call in Archangel Michael to cleanse the space, to clear out all negative and lower vibrations from our mind, body, and soul, home, and hearts. Placing the white light of protection around with this blue seal. And we're going to be reading more out of The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And it's a guide to spiritual enlightenment. And this is just something he wrote. He said, "You are here to enable the divine purpose of the universe to unfold. That's how important that you are," by Eckhart Tolle, which I 100% agree. It says, "The Power of Now," it says, introduction. It says, "I have little use for the past and rarely think about it. And however, I would briefly like to tell you how I came to be a spiritual teacher and how this book came into existence. Until my 13th year, I lived in the state of almost continuous anxiety, interspersed with periods of suicidal depression," which is exactly what I went through. "It feels now that if I'm talking about some past life or somebody else's life," and that's exactly how I feel, because you're in a different frequency and you vibrate higher once you heal yourself, so you no longer can relate to that person. It says, "One night, long after my 29th birthday, I woke up in the early hours with feeling absolute dread. I had woken up with such a feeling many times before, but this time was more intense than it had ever been. The silence of the night, the vague outlines of the furniture in the dark room, the distant noise of passing trains, everything felt so alien, so hostile, and so utterly meaningless that it created in me a deep loathing of the world." And a lot of people probably are experiencing that right now, if you haven't already woke up. "The most loathsome thing of all, however, was my own existence. What was the point in continuing to live with this burden of misery? Why carrying this continuous struggle? I could feel that a long, deep longing for annihilation, for non-existence, was now becoming much stronger than the intense desire to continue to live. I cannot live with myself any longer. This was thought that kept repeating in my mind. Then suddenly I became aware of a peculiar thought. Am I one or two? If I can live with myself, there must be two of me. The I and the self that I cannot live with. Maybe I thought only one of them was real. I was so stunned by the strange realization that my mind stopped. I was fully conscious, but there were no more thoughts. Then I felt drawn into what seemed a vortex of energy. It was a slow movement at first, and then it was accelerated, and then I gripped by intense fear, and my body started to shake. I heard the words, resist nothing, as if it was spoken inside of my chest. I could feel myself being sucked into a void. It felt as if the void was inside myself rather than outside. Suddenly there was no more fear, and I let myself fall into that void. I have no recollection of what happened next after that." So I'm going to leave it at that, because I didn't experience those things, but I experienced, obviously, an awakening myself. I had been, I want to say, going through a dark night of the soul. Probably since 2012, when there were some portals that shifted for our world. So that's when it started to peak and start. And then I had a actual spiritual awakening in 2020. And that might resonate with a lot of you out there. And if it doesn't resonate but intrigues you and it makes you feel drawn to this video, it's because you yourself are more than likely going to wake up. So just stick with the process, trust in God, and just know that everything is always working out for your best and your highest good. And become one with your higher self, your I am presence, your God self. I love you all. Have a blessed day, and namaste.